Crawl for life, stuck. Ryan, snowmobiling Whitney Lake. Ryan is my friend. He lives in my neighborhood. He's a really nice young man. Growing up, he was probably, in his later 20s, something like that. Well, anyway, he came to church one day, or I saw him in the neighborhood one day. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he told me about a situation where he liked to ride snowmobiles, and I loved riding snowmobiles. He said that he went up to Whitney Reservoir, and he went up, to it's kind of by the UNA's. Anyway, went up there just past Evanston, went in, drove in on his snowmobile. He couldn't find anybody to go snowmobiling with, so he drove in on his snowmobile, and it's a fairly long story, but I'm going to try to shorten it. He went in by himself, and you never go snowmobiling by yourself. Or if you do go snowmobiling by yourself, you stay right on the road, right where you can get to the road, right where people can see you. Otherwise, you can have a problem. So he was telling me that he was snowmobiling, and he went over by Lake Whitney, and it was kind of fresh snow. It was fresh, and there wasn't much base to the snow. So there was a lot of snow. It was kind of fresh, but he lost power. He went clear up by Whitney, and he dropped down into the Whitney Reservoir area, and somehow he went down off of a hillside and got stuck in some really fluffy, deep snow. And he's like, "Oh crap!" He's by himself. Nobody knows where he's at. I mean, they know generally where he's at. He parked his truck out by the road, out by Whitney, by the entrance going into Whitney, but nobody knows where he's at. So he's like tries to get his snowmobile out. It just won't get out. He can't get his snowmobile out. So now he's by himself. He's stuck. He can't get out, and he's way off the trail. So it's not on the packed road. He's way off in the snow on the trail, way off the trail. So he's like, "Oh man, I don't know what to do." So he just got ready, and he started crawling through the snow, trying to dig through the snow. It was horrible. He started getting really hot and sweaty, and he crawled, and he just dug through the snow, dug through the snow, dug through the snow. It was horrible, horrible. Dug. He just kept digging for hours and hours trying to get through the snow. Horrible. And he wanted to get to the packed road, which was quite a ways away. Now, quite a ways away might have been a half mile. Quite a ways away might have been several hundred yards. I don't know. But it was horrible getting through the snow. He finally would try to get on top of the snow and just crawl along. He was cold, and plus he was sweating and so forth, all those things going on. And he finally at about 12 o'clock at night gets to the packed road. And no, he doesn't have cell service. Nobody knows where he's at exactly. So he starts walking along the road, and he would walk for a while, then he would rest because he was exhausted. He would rest he'd lay down on the road and sleep for 10 minutes or so. But he was aware enough to where he wasn't getting hypothermia, but because he was so sweaty, he just had to rest because he was so exhausted from dragging himself out from the snow that he was so fatigued he had to take a rest and a break from time to time. I don't know if he had anything to eat or anything to drink. I can't remember. But anyway, he kept walking along the road. And it's several miles, probably, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 or 10 miles back to the main road. But he just kept walking along on the packed snowmobile trail, which is basically a cat track. And then he would fall asleep, fall asleep. Pretty soon he fell asleep. And he heard search and rescue come. Search and rescue pulled up and found him at 4 o'clock in the morning, sleeping on the road. Luckily, he got to that road so they could find him. But he's darn lucky he didn't die. He didn't die. So anyway, never go snowmobiling by yourself. But if you go snowmobiling by yourself, stay right on the packed trail, right where people drive all the time so they can see you if you need any